Okay, the front struts are in. I'm just waiting for a shortened sway bar end link. You require a shortened sway bar end link because the sway bar mount is lower than the factory. The speed sensor or the wheel sensor, I mounted it over here with zip ties. It's nice and safe. It's still retaining the factory mounts. So that's the front. Ladder line behind there. We're going to run the lines in just a minute. Now going back to the rear, or going to the rear. Rear is very simple. The first thing you guys got to do is you got to loosen up the strut bolt, which is over here. Then once you've done that, you guys can remove the end links or these little links, because what you're going to do is from the factory, these little suckers go like this. So they're tilted inwards. When you're going to run a bag, you're going to have to swap the right with the left and left with the right, simply being because what's going to happen now is, obviously this is not the correct one, but you're going to have it out going like this. From the factory, they're like this. So that might rub the bag out. So what you got to do is you got to swap the left with the right and orient them this way. They completely line up, no issue with that. But what happens is by tilting them away, you give space for the bag to move, which sits over here on the lower cup. We have a direct fit bag, getting ready to put that in. So that's what you got to do. So remove those. Then you can remove the center bolt over here, which is, I believe, 21. And gently drop the lower control arm. Obviously, you remove any of the bushings. So the factory spring is right there somewhere. You remove the bushings because you're going to put the spring in here and it's going to mount from the bottom. It's going to get retained. Bada bing, bada boom. The removal of the shock is super simple. Once you removed it from the lower cradle, lower control arm, it's got 3 bolts. I go in here, this style of a bolt. And then once you do that, you're able to pull the whole assembly out, which is over here, which is what we've done on one side. You got to pop the EDM or EDC, electronic dampness control, EDC off controller, and then you still retain the stop mount over here, which is a sealed mount, but you kind of pry it out of here because you're going to put, then once you install the new rear shocks, obviously for the air suspension, we're going to reuse the upper mount with a dust shield, which will go over here. So I'm going to go ahead and install that, install the rear bags. And that's pretty much for the bag installation. I'll show you guys the final products, and then I'm going to start running the line. I'll show you guys where I run the lines. I've already removed the inner wells over there, so I'm going to run it behind the side vents, which is what I like to do. I like to run all my lines on the outside. Why? Because I don't want to pull up panels and put it underneath the floor, underneath the carpet. So I like to run all my lines outside just for the sake of resale value, obviously, because none of the panels will be touched. And it's easy and accessible. And a lot of these new cars, especially BMWs, Mercedes, and VWs, they all have like shields underneath. So it's so simple to run the lines away from the exhaust, but just underneath these shields and tuck them in and bring them out to the front like I always do. Again, similar situation as with the Rolla. Rear subframe, run the lines above the subframe. I'm going to show you guys how I run the lines anyways on this M4, 2022 M4 G22, G82. And you guys will be able to see, but over here, I can already see there's a vent. So plenty of room to run underneath it. You don't really have to remove the full wheel wall cover. You can sort of run underneath, above the subframe over here, away from the exhaust, and go underneath the panels and link it up to the front. So I'll show you guys how I do that. Stay tuned. Okay, so the rear is in. The shock is in, as we can see. Nice. As you guys can see, the angle now is away from the bag. We use a slim bag. Well, actually, you know what? It's better that it's away. So it's away. There's the bag in right here. There's a custom mount. Obviously, once the air is in it, it'll expand. It's retained from the bottom, but it's kind of loosely moving. We'll tie it up once there's air in and there's pressure and it expands. Once it expands, you can lock it on the bottom and prevent it from moving. So that's perfect. We provide a special type of a bracket that allows you to sort of route the wheel sensor, which normally sits on the shock. In our case, it sits over here. You can loop it around. It's a special type of a bracket that's included with our kit that allows you to run the internal brake. I believe this is a brake sensor, and then you can loop the wheel sensor that's over here. That allows you to be looped back and forth, zip tie it together so it's out of the way. It's kind of hidden. There's no issues, and that's pretty much Bob's your uncle. So that's the rear. The line is behind here. So we'll be able to, let me see, we'll be able to route it out behind here. So once this is inside the cup, it will, I gotta make sure that there's clearance for the fitting and it doesn't impact the line. So I think what I'm gonna do is actually, the line will go on the side here and go up. That way it'll allow, it's gonna have to be moved around away. This will cause it to be away and stuff like that. So, and we'll see how everything sits. So I gotta figure out how I'm gonna route the fittings. Once I figure out how to route the fittings and the lines, I'll record the next video. But that's all there is for the rear. I'm gonna do the other side now, and we'll put some air in these bags and in the fronts and see if we can get it down on static air. Okay, so once you remove the rear shock, let me get a flathead. But this is what you have to pop. It's pretty easy, actually. Take a flathead, bada beam, bada boom. Put that here. You can put in a vise or whatever. And all you got to do is just take the flathead and carefully and go from the other side. This is crazy when essentially what you're going to do is you're going to gently pop it out. Bingo. Just like that. And then you're going to remove this because you're no longer needed on the, and retain the sensor. And this, I believe, is an 18 mil. So you remove that and then you transfer over the upper mount to the new performance shock. Tuck this away. Okay. This thing slams nice. And I know it's not on the way on the ground because it's stopping on my left, but this is hot as fuck. These are 20s in the back and it's like almost tucking. So I can only imagine once he puts on his bigger wheels how this thing is gonna look like. But it's amazing. Actually, I love it. The suspension works great. The front drops like a mofo. It's probably going to lay on the ground. And no, this is amazing. This is amazing. This is really cool. Now it's on static air, and we're gonna start chiseling away on the trunk setup. Trunk shouldn't be too hard. The fuse box is right there, basically. But I'm wondering if I'm just gonna run it not from the fuse box, but I'm gonna run it from the 12-volt source. I'll tap into that just because I don't want to go and put some top of fuses inside the fuse box. I'm just going to get my 12-volt source from there. That should be enough. And the body's right here. So it's stupid simple. We're going to do a dual compressor setup with 2 compressors. So it's going to be a separate circuit, separate relay for the secondary compressor. And yeah, I can't wait to air this up and go for a rip and then do the final adjustments. But it sits amazing. It's spectacular. I love this. 2022 BMW M4. Kiss and frame. Amazing.